Hi there, everybody, and I just wanted to jump into the feed today with a bonus podcast to let you know about a report that we just published this week. So for all the stories of stress and struggle that we heard in 2020, there's also been some amazing examples of heroism and success. Procurement teams have worked long hours and with little information to go on to keep their operations running, often partnering with suppliers and colleagues to find creative solutions on the fly. And so we recently partnered with Ivalua to interview several CPOs about what they learned in 2020 and how that will change their approach going forward. And so in this short bonus podcast today, I thought I'd just share a couple of short outtakes from two of the CPOs. First, Dan Symon. Dan is the CPO of New York City. He had the unenviable task of ensuring that the city had the PPE and ventilators that they needed as the pandemic was hitting New York especially hard.
My team was tasked with securing the necessary PPE and full-service ventilators for New York City's hospital systems as a backup. It's no news to anyone that the supply chain for PPE just completely broke down, needless to say. And so we were tasked, but New York City was not in a position to wait for that to correct itself. We had to go out, and we were literally hand to mouth for several weeks there in March and April, and even in a little bit in May, where we had to secure masks and gowns and eye protection as quickly as we possibly could. And so with, our traditional routes through, we had contracts with, suppliers that, and we had contracts, requirements contracts that we should have been able to call upon for supply, but as you know, they didn't have access to inventory either. And so we had to go and get it as quickly as we could. And so my team stood up an operation within about 48 hours where we were fielding resource offers. And so imagine not following a traditional procurement path, but literally putting out a call for anyone who claims that they have PPE or ventilators, right? And so you imagine what your junk folder looks like on a day-to-day basis. That is what we jumped into. We jumped into the gray market. We had to take every lead and run it down all the way to its completion to see if we could gather supply. But what we quickly did right after that was we recognized that we could have no reliance on our brokers and our supplier, our domestic suppliers, right? And so we set the city up as an importer of record, which allowed for customs clearance both on foreign soil as well as U.S. And we contracted directly with freight forwarders. And so instead of relying upon a vendor to deliver pandemic-related material to us, PPE, we basically bought it and picked it up ourselves. We had a very successful operation over the spring to get the PPE we needed to the medical sector. That has led us to be able to produce a 90-day stockpile of all of the necessary PPE items as a backstop for the hospitals. Throughout the summer, we've been standing up this stockpile service center. And I'm very happy to say that as of right now, we are fully operational and folks are able to order from us. Hospitals short on supply are ordering directly from the city.
Next, I want to share a short clip from Sajid, Kunnummal, the Vice President and CPO at Navistar, a Fortune 500 manufacturer of commercial trucks, buses, and engines.
I think we are one of the only companies, I would say, in this industry who continue to run our operations without interruption. And I think there was only 2 weeks of disruption, just 2 weeks in this entire cycle. We had a plant shutdown. And compared to the rest of our competitors in industry, we're shut down by 6 to 8 weeks, or even more than that. So, we did certain things right, which enabled us to be one of those very few companies in this industry who had very little disruption. And we continue to operate that way. And moving forward, we have found new ways. We have started to use new tools, new systems and methodologies so that we can continue to operate the way we are. without any disruption. Supply chain visibility is the number one thing which I would, from my perspective, the number one thing which we should be focusing on, because it doesn't matter whether you're one supplier or 10 suppliers. Your visibility into the supply chain, multi-tier visibility, I would say, and your ability to quickly respond to changes and a potential risk in that supply chain by building agility into it is the best way forward. Rather than say pull stuff out of China, I think it's worthwhile spending on putting a robust supply chain visibility mechanism. It will go a long, long way to mitigate a lot of this. Under normal conditions, for me to implement a system like, whether it's Ivalua or other supply chain visibility tools, the adoption rate would have been much lower and the pushback would have been much higher. But now I think I see more and more willingness of suppliers to adopt these tools than I would have expected under normal conditions, because they see the value proposition of that. The willingness to share how we do it, willingness to share technologies, the willingness to look at creative ways to do it is much higher than, as I said, under normal conditions. So which is a great thing for us. This crisis has really brought procurement, I would say, a few notches up in terms of the value proposition of procurement as a function. So I'm sure that this crisis would have significantly put procurement up in the way the value is viewed of procurement, right? It's not just about running the operations, it's about delivering value in terms of savings, in terms of other things procurement can bring to the table. The value of procurement has significantly moved up as a result of this crisis. And it's a great thing for procurement. I would say procurement and supply chain, because people have realized the importance of having a very robust supply chain.
Well, January the 1st, 2021, it won't bring a return to normal, but it does mark a new beginning. And procurement has never stopped maturing and evolving. And the past year really has brought on an enormous growth spurt for the profession. We've uncovered hidden weaknesses, seen the benefits of transparency and risk management, and forged new partnerships, both inside and outside of our companies. Now, to read more about how CPOs are pivoting their teams to enable success in 2021, it's the paper that we took these two interviews from. You can actually get it at artofprocurement.com/2021pivot. That's all one word. That's artofprocurement.com/2021pivot. All right, I'll be back on Monday with a new show.